It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports, Pete.
Get ready for epic savings at Best Buy. Right now, you can save up to $700 on select Alienware and Dell gaming products. Perfect for leveling up your gaming experience. Plus, grab the latest Android Google Pixel at an unbeatable price. Don't miss these incredible deals. Shop now at bestbuy.com and upgrade your tech today.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
Ready to bring your vision to life? At Small Rig, every idea, design, and product is inspired by you, the creator. With our industry-first under co-design mode and the Dream Rig free customization project, we unite with global creators to turn big dreams into reality. Whether it's a cage rig or mount, Small Rig's versatile gear is built to elevate your craft. Small Rig, where your creativity meets our innovation. Go to smallrig.com.
At Rolls Rolo, we don't just sell wallpaper, we create cohesive, cozy spaces. Our deep understanding of design means every pattern, color, and texture is carefully chosen to complement your home. Plus, we use advanced technology and water-based inks for vibrant, eco-friendly prints, ensuring a healthier environment. Visit rollsrolla.com to transform your space today. That's ROLLSROLLA.com today. At 25 Home, our ultimate goal is to provide you with a transformative experience, making each day feel like it has an extra hour. We believe your home is more than just a space, it's a sanctuary where comfort, relaxation, and happiness thrive. Discover the difference at 25 Home today. Shop now at 25home.com.
It is the Pete Sousa Show, and we are live. We're on the road right now in Tucson, Arizona. If I wasn't so washed out behind me, you would see all the beautiful desert images here for Arizona and TCU tonight. The Big 12 opener for Arizona. First Big 12 game. Think about that, like the historic. I was walking around campus yesterday here. So much history around this basketball program. Specifically, you think of like Lute Olson and Sean Elliott and Steve Kerr. And now they're going into a whole new frontier basketball-wise. Arizona head coach Tommy Lloyd spent 22 years as an assistant for Gonzaga with Mark Few. Comes over to Arizona, and they've been gangbusters in his first 3 years. This year, right now, they're 6-5, and they're about to start their Big 12 schedule. They came into the season ranked preseason top 10, got as high as 9. So they have their work cut out for them, but I think that they have plenty of opportunity ahead. And it starts tonight. I will be on the call, I guess 8 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock local here. But look, man, I would love to talk about the Big 12 and college basketball, but there's so much football we have to cover. In our second segment, we're going to talk to Darby Brown, who has boots on the ground right now in Atlanta for Texas and Arizona State. That game is tomorrow at 1 o'clock. I guess it's 12 o'clock. We'll go Central time. I think it's noon Central. Forgive me if I'm wrong about that. 12.5 point favorite, Texas is. 12.5 points, man, that's a lot of points. So we'll talk to Darby about that. She's got some interesting, obviously, insights. She is now living in Austin, right, covering the Longhorns for the Fox Sports affiliate there. So she has had an up close and personal viewpoint of Steve Sarkisian, what they're doing, and we're going to talk a little bit about Quinn Ewers and Arch Manning. There's always like something going on with Texas football, even when it's going good. And there's something going on with the Cowboys all the time, and very rarely nowadays it's going good. Cowboys get blown out yesterday against the Eagles on the road. A game where they knew, last week, just a couple hours before kickoff, it was clear that the Cowboys were going to be out of playoff contention. And they went out, a real esteemable performance against Tampa Bay. They won the game. Hey, score one for the Gipper, right? Mike McCarthy looks like, hey, maybe we're headed to a discussion here, a possible another contract for McCarthy, who has been a lame duck all year. Yesterday they get the doors blown off him. So now it's all about the reporting on his future that I'm super interested in. And, for those sources, you don't have to go very far. Literally the Doomsday podcast here on Rogue Media after every Cowboys game, much like it was once again last night with Matt Mosley and Ed Werder. Ed is unbelievable. Matt, of course, unbelievable. But Ed, a couple stats. I don't even want to pretend like these are my own. Cowboys are 7-9 this year. 4 of their losses by 25 or more points, right? That's not a good sign if you're a coach who's trying to coach for his job. One thing you could say in Mike McCarthy's defense, that 6 former Pro Bowlers who are on the Cowboys roster are on the IR right now. So, injuries have not been good to the Cowboys. But they've not been good to a lot of teams in the NFL. You look at Christian McCaffrey in San Francisco, all around the league, you can always find a team who's struggling because of injuries. It's just something you deal with. But certainly something worth noting this year. And Jerry Jones was asked about that. Like, hey, Jerry's doing a great job of being now, right? Which is super interesting because, he kind of set – I don't want to say he set them up to fail, the Cowboys this year, but by not making any kind of big free agent acquisitions to the places where the Cowboys needed those acquisitions, specifically running back, you could say Jerry Jones did his organization and his coach a disservice, and he has pretty much admitted that. Now you're looking at another transitional period, and if you remember, I guess it was 5 years ago, when Jason Garrett got fired, it was a whole week-long process. The Cowboys still have one more game. They play the Commanders, and they're not going to be favored in that game, so they could fall to 7-10. And at that point, the cries will grow louder outside the building for Mike McCarthy and a change. But really, all that matters is what goes on inside the building. And the reporting, there's so much that could possibly take place. First of all, okay, let's say Mike McCarthy gets let go. Who replaces him? Well, is it Mike Vrabel, right? Defensive-minded guy. That means he'll come in and he'll take over the defense. So Mike Zimmer's definitely out. And the reason why there's a possibility that coordinators like Mike Zimmer stick around, because we're talking about Jerry Jones. So it's hard to say how far his reach will extend in the decision-making process. But so maybe you could hire a Kellen Moore too. Eagles offensive coordinator who has made you look terrible twice this year. Someone who you're familiar with that you could have in the building that's a gear where I'm sure Jerry could hit and feel pretty good about it. Obviously, Kellen Moore won't infringe on some of the bells and whistles that come with Jerry Jones owning a team. And I think that's super important for a guy like Jerry Jones to have a level of comfort. There's also an option where Mike McCarthy stays, for lack of a better term, he's like neutered, would you say? Maybe so, okay, you can stay, but you've got to get rid of your staff, and, all these changes are going to come down on you, and they'll be, who knows? And here's the thing that I think that I wasn't really even thinking about until this morning, because I heard Mosley and Edward are talking about it on the Doomsday podcast. Mike McCarthy he will have options, whether it is to be the offensive coordinator for the Jets if Aaron Rodgers stays, whether it is to be an offensive coordinator or head coach for the New Orleans Saints, an organization that's in free fall, an organization where he called plays before. Mike McCarthy probably won't just say yes to any scaled back opportunity. I don't know Mike McCarthy. I can't get inside his head. Mosley and Werder would be a better place to go for that. And they do a really good job of breaking down the Cowboys coaching situation as it stands now and where it could be going in the future. One interesting nugget, when I think of Mike McCarthy, I think of this man who was part of the West Coast offense coaching tree, right? Like the Bill Walsh, all the way back to like the Mike Holmgrens, and that short passing game that's an extension of your running game, which sees you passing the ball way more than you run it. Even if you, like Mike McCarthy so often has, either say you're committed to the run or you even make an honest effort to be committed to the run. At the end of the day, you're always a West Coast. I almost gave you the middle finger there. Sorry. At the end of the day, you're always a West Coast offense guy, for better or for worse. And we see what's going on around the NFL right now. Like Saquon Barkley, hits 2,000 yards yesterday. Looking to break Eric Dickerson's record this coming weekend. Derrick Henry has almost 1,800 yards rushing. Are we moving back towards, and I think I was looking at this last year, the leading rushers in the NFL, I think were Christian McCaffrey at like 1,500 yards. And then, forgive me, I don't know who was exactly behind him, but it was like 1,300. So now is there more of a premium being placed on the running game? And are the Cowboys and a guy like Mike McCarthy getting left behind? So that's a whole nother concern that you can be sure will be discussed and mulled over inside Cowboys headquarters, right? We, by the way, are presented by Slovacics, or basically our headquarters. Slovacics of West. I'm going to take a quick drink here. It's always the holiday season around Slovacics of West. And look, man, and women and whoever else, we're going to be on the road this holiday season. I have been on the road. And I've had the opportunity to stop into Slovacics of West. Of course, 2 weeks ago, we had a live show there. And I can tell you it went beautifully. We'll be back doing that again. And if you stop into Slovacics because you need gas or you need fuel, and I mean like fuel for the soul, that's where you go. Man, kolaches, atmosphere, and you can get all kinds of great deals, by the way, on Christmas stuff in there now, I'm sure. I don't really know what I'm going to have for lunch, so I'm certainly not planning for next Christmas, but you should. I think it's a good idea for you. No, I love Slovacics. All right, so anything else on McCarthy? Okay, so this is only a couple more things with the Cowboys, just because I want to give some context to this decision that is upcoming, right? So Mike McCarthy has only had his second losing season with the Cowboys this year. And you factor in the 2 times that he's had a losing season with the Cowboys, both seasons, his starting quarterback has been unavailable. Dak Prescott in both cases, 2020 and this year. And you see how important a starting quarterback is in the NFL. And by the way, Cooper Rush, like if this was your shot, man, yeah, he's been careless with the football. I mean, the numbers prove that, and that's unfortunate for him because this was a sick opportunity for him, I'm sure. So McCarthy's second losing season with his Cowboys, only his third in 18 years. Anything else about McCarthy? No. Just look out for Kellen Moore to get that job That will be like a prediction I have. And don't be surprised if Kellen Moore gets offered the job and he says no. There's a lot of, Jerry Jones and the Cowboys could slowly be morphing into like what Al Davis and the Raiders eventually became. This amazingly transformative organization who rose to the top with an identity, right? For the Raiders, it was the vertical passing game, putting pressure on the cornerback, playing strong, like bump and run coverage. Like that's who the Raiders were. And then, the West Coast offense and getting the ball down the field in chunks became the order of the day. And then defenses are now forced to cover 5 guys. So the press and the bump and run, you just can't quite do it the same way you could in the 70s and 80s and even early 90s for the Raiders. So their identity was slow to change with the rest of football. They're still suffering from that. Are the Cowboys going to be that organization? Cowboys fans hope not. And we'll get some clarity on that coming up here in the next few weeks. So bear down. It's going to be a saga, by the way. Like there's no way this thing will be completed like within the 24 hours after this game against the Redskins coming up this weekend. If anything else, this is like Jerry Jones is a master of theater. I can give him credit for that. He's kept his nose out of it for the better part of the second half of the season. And now here he is. He's faced with the decision, 7-8 weeks ago, there was no decision to be made. Mike McCarthy was going to be fired. So the drama's there. All right, sad news. And before we get to Darby in our second segment, I had to talk about a man who just departed us, a man from Loris College. I may be saying that wrong. In Dubuque, Iowa. Loris College in Dubuque, Iowa. Now, who am I talking about? Talking about the great Greg Gumbel, passing away over the weekend at 78 years of age. Ultimately, the cause of death is cancer. Last year, around March or in March, when we all got ready for the selection show on CBS, that like is like another form of Christmas to so many of us. It was a little jarring when the coverage opened and there was no Greg Gumbel, and we were given a quick explanation as to why he was not there. And rightfully so. CBS did a great job of like quickly informing you on why you're not looking at Greg Gumbel because he's that important. And now we're going to have to move on with this coverage that everyone is on pins and needles to come see. And as far as I in my recent memory, I don't think we've seen Greg Gumbel since then, or I certainly haven't. Quick, like if I could eulogize a man of that ilk, I can't. I'm not qualified to, but I could tell you some stuff about him and why he was effective in my life. Greg Gumbel, born in New Orleans, raised on the south side of Chicago. So that gives you an idea of the type of environment. And Bryant Gumbel, his brother, has been a little more vocal about the rigors of growing up on the south side of Chicago. Now, it was much different then. Michael Wilbon does a great job. I heard him interviewed on Dan Lebitard's podcast, and he talked about growing up on the south side of Chicago. And it was not, these are Wilbon's words. It wasn't some kind of war zone or, no, it was a place where people lived by a code. There was respect, but it was not easy. And Greg Gumbel was a product of that environment. He goes to Loris College in Dubuque, Iowa. And here's your first inclination that Greg Gumbel is special, okay? In 1973, he comes out of college. And so now he's a Midwestern guy, grew up in Chicago, went to school in Iowa, and he auditions for a job at the local Chicago affiliate. I think it was like WMMQ, or I forget exactly what affiliate it was, but it was a big time, either Fox, ABC, or not Fox, NBC, ABC, or CBS at the time affiliate in Chicago. It's a huge job to do weekend sports, and he got the job right out of college. Now, back then, especially when it was not necessarily a normal thing for someone to come out of college and be in the fourth market in the country, reporting on some of the Chicago Cubs, the Chicago Bears, right? Like, and this is when these are some of the very few outlets we're getting this information as fans, right? It's like sports talk radio, your newspaper, and your TV stations, and not necessarily in that order back then. Your TV stations were probably at the top of the list. So there's this 23-year-old guy, Greg Gumbel, who even at the time says, man, I can't believe I got that job. I didn't think I would get it. I always do that when I drink. But that's an indication that we're talking about someone who is just gifted. And it was very clear that whenever Greg Gumbel we were blessed with him being on our TV screens, because I look back now and I think we were, right? TV screens, devices, whatever. There was always such a calm about him, and hey, we're having fun too, in a very low key way, with that kind of wry smile he had, and what a career that spanned 50 years. So he starts out at this CBS affiliate, or the Chicago affiliate, local market. Then he goes on, and that's a major job, but he's still finding his footing. He was 20 some years of age. So he goes into, like we mentioned, the local news. And then he gets jobs at MSG in New York, right? When that was just coming up, they were figuring out how to get live events on cable. MSG was at the forefront of that, and Greg Gumbel was a part of that. That was a boom, man, a boom. And that's why James Dolan still owns the Knicks, because his family's involvement with MSG and that complete boom when they started to put, and I don't know all the details, clearly. I don't know all the details of much, but they started to put cable and fiber all over the city of New York, as I understand it, something like that. You could really debunk these theories quickly, but you get what I'm saying. The game was changed broadcast-wise. MSG was at the front of that, and so was Greg Gumbel. Then Greg Gumbel, and maybe I'm a little out of order here, WFAN, right? That's it. Sports Talk Radio is here. WFAN has got to put together a murderer's row in New York City, right? You got Imus in the morning. You got Mike and Mike. For a while there, you had Imus, I think, and I don't know the other day part, but Imus really cranked up WFAN. It gave it that tent pole early in the morning where you knew people were going to go to listen. And then after that, you had folks like Mike and the Mad Dog, who really carried coverage and made that station, WFAN, and Sports Talk Radio what it was. Greg Gumbel was a part of that lineup on WFAN in the mid-'80s. And Greg Gumbel did not like Sports Talk Radio. He came out, he talked about that. I read an article about that recently. It wasn't one of his favorite things to have done. And that's because the guy's not a windbag, like I can be sometimes. 2 Super Bowls, was the first black play-by-play guy ever to call a major championship on network television. And like he did 2 Super Bowls. Like, and his versatility is one of the most amazing things. Like, I don't know of anybody else that has anchored the coverage, probably Jim Nance, anchored the coverage and then called a game, anchored studio coverage and then actually called the Super Bowl. I'm sure I'm forgetting some of these esteemed broadcasters, but in 1990, when Brent Musburger was abruptly let go by CBS when they couldn't come to terms in a contract negotiation, Greg Gumbel slid into his seat on the NFL Today. You want to talk pressure? That was the only show in town for an NFL pregame. And here is this young guy, Greg Gumbel, who takes over for Brent Musburger. You can't screw that up. And CBS didn't. I mean, when you think about it, they slid Gumbel into his chair to do the NFL Today. And then, like I say that, they slid him into the chair. I'm going with all the nuanced language. But then Jim Nance took over for the college basketball, the Final Four. Not a bad job done by CBS there. I'll leave with this, or we'll end this with this eulogy of Greg Gumbel, who it's weird to say this now, but I feel like there's so much going on. Ricky Henderson died last week. I wanted to talk about him, but there's so much going on in the world right now that, like, even with the amazing tributes, the NFL Today did one yesterday. I've seen a couple others about Greg Gumbel. He was terribly underrated in life, and I feel like he's already terribly underrated in death. That doesn't mean that people don't know the value that he brought to sports television and sports broadcasting. But I believe he was one of the all-time elites. And I mean, just when I saw he'd pass, that was a big one, man, a big shot to the heart. And it's a bummer, but he elevated coverage of sports, and that's what the best of the best do. And they keep you coming back for more. I don't know if I'll do that today for you, but Darby Brown should. We're checking in with Darby. She is in Atlanta for this big bowl game. I cannot wait. She's going to be at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. It's going to be Texas, and it's going to be Arizona State. Texas, 12.5 points. That's how much of a favorite they are. Should they be? We'll talk to Darby about that shortly. The Pete Sousa Show, powered by the Rogue Media Network, on the road in Tucson, rolls on after this.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at a stop. I thought I was fine, and then once I got home, I realized it's a lot worse than I thought. I ended up having a ruptured disc. You say you're not hurting, and then an hour later, you're saying you're in all this pain. I just felt like most people would think that I was lying. That's when I decided to call Daniel Stark. I owe a lot to Daniel Stark. They really got me what I deserved.
The difference is stark.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down to afterwards, was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
At Acasis, innovation drives us. Since 2008, we've been creating cutting-edge technology products that make your life easier. With a focus on performance, design, and customer service, we're here to help you work smarter, not harder. Join us on our journey to simplify your world. Visit acasis.com today. That's ACASIS.com today. Unlock a world of convenience with Mully Box, your one-stop solution for personalized subscription boxes delivered right to your door. From gourmet snacks to unique finds, each box is tailored to your taste. Experience the joy of surprises. Subscribe today at mullybox.com. That's MULLYBOX.com. Transform your workspace with Hanomi Ergonomics. From adjustable chairs to standing desks, we provide solutions for comfort and productivity, whether at home or in the office. Improve your posture, reduce strain, and work smarter. Visit us at hanomi.co today. That's HINOMI.co today. Unlock your full potential with Onnit, your go-to for premium supplements, fitness gear, and wellness essentials. Whether you're training hard, recovering faster, or just looking to feel your best, Onnit has the tools you need to perform at your peak. Visit Onnit, that's ONNIT.com, and elevate your mind, body, and spirit today. Get paid faster with Bill, the easiest way to send, receive, and manage your payments. No more delays, no more hassle. Whether you're a freelancer or a business, Bill makes payments seamless and secure, simple, fast, and reliable. Sign up today at Bill.com.
So, Yeah, you recognize her. It's Darby Brown. By the way, this is complete BS. I'm now sitting here in Tucson, Arizona, and I'm surrounded by desert everywhere. And this is your home. Well, not really, Phoenix area, right?
Couple
But now,
hours south, but yeah.
yeah. And so now you're in Atlanta right now,
Right.
getting ready for a college football playoff showdown.
Yeah, against Arizona State, Texas and Arizona State. So there's lots of Arizona overlaps right now. But yeah, we're really, the schedules were crazy, but we found a time. So it's great.
We did find a time. And, I can't thank you enough, Darby. I know you're super busy. You've transitioned now. You're in Austin. You're covering the Longhorns. It's like a really good spot. For me, it's cool because you're kind of like my Texas insider now. It's perfect. I don't have to go out of my way, which is great.
Yeah. Great.
So I mentioned Mercedes-Benz, like this is it right there. Like you're in Atlanta. Quick vibe check for me.
Yeah, well, on the city, it's about 20 degrees warmer than it was when we were here 3 weeks ago. So that is getting some points in my book. Again, being from Arizona, it was way too cold, but it's cool. It's definitely like this has way more of the week-long activities, the fanfare. You feel like, the bowl game atmosphere, whereas we were just here a few weeks ago for the SEC championship. So it was kind of a different setup for that. More people kind of in and out for the game. Definitely people are around and ready to experience this historic playoff situation that's happening in Atlanta.
Give me some context because you're covering now one of the most elite college football programs in the history of the world. What has that been like for you? Is there pressure that comes with that? Is there a greater sense of responsibility?
I think for me, I feel that just by how many people cover this team, how many, there's just so many websites, so many writers, just the national attention that Texas gets. So it is like there's just a lot of eyeballs on this team, and rightfully so right now because they're very good right now. I think, there's years where they get a lot of attention and it's not the same type of deal, but definitely, you do feel, I don't know if I would say I feel more responsibility or anything because I feel like I took a lot of responsibility in what I was doing in Waco, but you definitely do feel, like you're a smaller fish in a bigger pond for sure. Like there's just a lot of people involved in this. So, it's cool in a way. It's definitely cool, but it's different.
As far as like being in Austin, covering the Longhorns, did you have like a welcome to Texas football moment when you were like, wow, this is like, I'm standing right next to Matthew McConaughey? Or,
yeah. My first two games were the Texas OU game. And so the Red River Showdown, which was, Oklahoma's kind of having a down year. So that wasn't maybe what it has been in the past. But still, the fanfare of it, all that stuff is pretty.
It was early enough in the season, too. Like there was just enough hype.
Who knows? Yeah. And it's just, the site, the teams coming in, just the fans, the whole thing was the split down the middle. So that was fun to experience. And then my second game was the Georgia game. So that was my first home game for Texas. So that was a circus. I mean, it really was. It was just like, well, you know me, I'm a huge Suns fan. The Suns like starting five was on the sideline. So that was crazy. I mean, Devin Booker was out there. So that was pretty cool.
It's got to be surreal.
Yeah, no, that was definitely surreal. I think that game was definitely like, wow, this is big time, especially because it was F1 weekend. It was just like the celebrities were there. And yeah, multiple times I've turned around and been like shoulder to shoulder with McConaughey or Glenn Powell. Those are like the regulars now. But definitely, yeah, and you feel like you're like TMZ, but you got to get the content. So yeah, so that's kind of a funny part
how
of the
does
job.
How does a young woman like yourself just totally like operate around superstars like Glenn Powell and Matthew McConaughey?
Yeah, well, people were teasing me because that it is like you're like, whoa, they're right here, and they're like the people that are around it are like, they come to every game, like you'll get used to it, and that kind of is true. Like the first time I was like, oh my gosh, like I said, I turn around, he's right there.
There's so much,
and then it. Oops, sorry, Pete. Hold on.
I lost you for 1 second.
Yeah, sorry. Go back. You can continue your question.
No, go. So you were telling a story. I said, how do you like behave around that?
You just do your job. But definitely the first time I was a little starstruck, and then you get used to it. You're like, all right, they come to all the games. It is what it is, but it makes it fun. I mean, it's definitely like you could just tell people are, McConaughey gets the crowd involved, all that stuff. Like it's a lot of fun to be around.
Have you had any run-ins with like the Orange Bloods, or are people online talking about the new young woman covering Texas sports?
Yeah, I think some people at first were like, well, I've had a lot of people when I've seen them at the games and stuff, they've actually known me as the Baylor girl, like the person that
Because
covered
that's
Baylor.
how hardcore they are.
Yeah, and so they're like, weren't you in Waco? And I'm like, yeah, so that's kind of funny. I feel like I'm going to be identified as the Waco Baylor person for a while, but which is fair. I was there for 5 years, and I was in the middle of all of that. But so that is kind of funny to see how people still kind of identify me with that beat. But it's just, there's a lot of people covering this team, and so you kind of just gotta do what you can to get your foot in here and kind of get to work. So that's what I've been trying to do.
Well, and that's a special part of you and who you are. You do a great job of forging these relationships, and you've already got contacts, and you'll just get more and more. It's kind of cool watching the whole thing grow. For today's conversation, of course, that's why I'm not in news anymore, Darbs. I buried the lead. Like, we're talking about, you got to go with the new stuff first. This game, you're in Atlanta. 12.5 points is a lot of points. Texas, they're favored by 12.5. Arizona State, feisty, coming off a bye. What kind of insight are you picking up around this game?
I think, Kennedy Dillingham, he just came out and said it. I think maybe it was even worse at the time, like 13.5. And he just said, we're a 14-point underdog, and rightfully so. And he's like, rightfully so. He's excited to see how his guys will match up. But when you look at Texas and what they put on tape, it's hard to not probably put them with that much of an advantage. But Texas, Texas is coming in. They've had some ups and downs. Their defense is unbelievable. I think that's probably where this comes into. It's just their defense is so strong. And Arizona State, they have that, Cam Scatterboot, an incredible running back, but that's their whole thing, really. I mean, so Texas is against him, and that's I think where people are like, Texas will handle him. Now we'll see if that's true, but I think that's kind of what it's come down to, is that it's one Superman versus a really, really strong team. And that's not to say Arizona State doesn't have awesome players. They do. And they actually have 6 former Texas players on their roster, which is really interesting. But so the overlap there is interesting. But it's just, especially because I'm from Arizona and I've seen, ASU's program over the years, like, even me, I'm like, I can't believe ASU is in this game. I can't believe ASU is here. And and it's just true, because it's awesome for them. I mean, it really is awesome. And it's awesome for Phoenix, and, everybody's excited about it. But that is the energy from them. It is like, we are excited to be here. We're going to live it up. And, they're out last night with the fans, interacting with the fans. Texas is not doing that. They're it's just a completely different dynamic. So I think that all stems from, like, they are the underdogs. They're going to live it up. They're here, so why not? And we'll see what happens.
You bring up such a good point. Like, when you talk about Texas and their defense, like, it's so hard. You can really make a great back look pedestrian if you have like that sideline to sideline speed, and you're going to be everywhere they turn. It's not even so much about getting blocked. It's like, these guys are so athletic, right? Like, they're just going to be everywhere.
Yeah, they are. And they have so many guys. I mean, you just look at their defense from top to bottom, and the backups too, and the guys that are going to start next year. They're just loaded, and they're so good at defending the run. And it's just kind of what they hang their hats on this year too. I mean, Sark is an offensive guy, but this defense has really kept them in this whole season through a lot of, offensive kind of struggles, some injuries, things like that. It's been the defense that's been so solid. And so I think that probably, again, is the biggest piece to this game. And I'm not saying Cam Scatterboot is not amazing. He is electric to watch. But I just think that Texas has more guys that they're just not going to let him do that. I don't think they're not going to let him do what he usually does.
Darby, you're making me. All of a sudden, I want a score prediction out of you, but I know that's off the table. So, all right, let's get to the quarterback situation in Texas. Like, what the heck's going on there? You got 2 5-star blue chip, but Quinn Ewers, I guess, has been looking extra human recently. What's the boots on the ground vibe around that?
Yeah. I think Quinn has done a great job this year. I really think he has. He had, when you look around, I mean, he lost Xavier Worthy to the NFL. He lost a lot of guys last year, and they've had to reload and figure things out. And so I think, it's him, and it's some solid weapons, and running backs have been up and down, and one of the best running backs this year came from Waco, actually. So there was that connection. But it's been Quinn and what's going on this year, and I think he's done a great job. I mean, we talked about that a lot this morning, that he really has led the charge for this offense. And does he make some throws he shouldn't? Has he made some plays that he'd like to have back? 100%. But when you look at it, they've only lost to Georgia, so they've won, and he's done a great job. I think the hard part is that Arch Manning and the last name Manning is what's on the bench. Like, it is what it is. And he may be all world next year, and that will be great for the Texas fans to see and whatever, but no one would be asking for the backup as much if it wasn't, the whole thing behind it. So it's an interesting dynamic there, because I don't know if Texas fans are appreciating Quinn as much as they should for while he's here, and we don't know exactly what he's going to do next year. Probably going to be gone, whether that's NFL or transferring or whatever, but that's kind of still TBD. But, he's now taken them to the playoffs 2 years in a row. I mean, he's just done a lot of great things for them. So it's been interesting to see that, and see the fan base and the way they've kind of handled him and stuff is just, it's what Texas
I love your
comes with the
point, though.
territory.
If that's not Manning on the back of his jersey, the conversation's probably a little different. And then also the backup quarterback is always the most popular quarterback in town, or
100%.
guy in town.
Yeah.
So it's we're at a crossroads here where it's like I look where they are, and look, they're a favorite. I don't know. I would like to see Arizona State do well, just affiliation with the Big 12.
Right,
but
right.
I think it is a tough road to hoe. What you mentioned something I find really interesting, because only you could break it down because you're there. There's a different feel around the Sun Devils. Hey, this is awesome. We're here. And that's kind of, look, they've been kind of three wide and winging it all year long. Why would you change now, right? That's who they are. Texas, I wonder, is there any sense of pressure around this? Because now you're right there.
Yeah.
They're
I think
right
that's
there.
fair. I think that's fair. I think both teams are going to tell you they want to win, but I think Texas, they are not expecting. They are moving on in their minds. There's no doubt. And I think Arizona State, it's the same thing, I'm sure, but it just feels different. It feels like the truth. One team has been here before, one team hasn't, and that's kind of the way it is. And I think there's positive and negatives to being on both sides, because ASU, they're going to go in there and do play loose, and that is kind of even just Kenny's energy is like that, and that's it's fun, it's a lot of fun, and Texas is it's just different. I think there are different, maybe not different expectations, but it's just the operation is definitely different, and that stems from just kind of the reality of where these programs are at heading into this one.
All right, a couple more things before I let you out of here. I know you got a busy day. Have you seen anybody from Arizona that or you worked with where you're just like, oh my gosh, that's got to be pretty cool for you?
Yeah, so this morning we got an hour with the Texas crew, an hour with the Arizona State crew, and I saw one of the guys. So he was a head coach I went to Pinnacle High School, which is in Phoenix, and Saguaro High School is a school that's not far away, and they were very solid. They won 7 state championships or something. They've been rolling for a while. But the head coach, when they were really doing well, he got hired on by ASU. And I saw him this morning because he used to take my mom's Orange Theory class. And so we had a connection there, and I was like, I got to say hi. And he was like, how's your mom? And is she still coaching at this location and whatever. So, and then I think people were like, why is Darby talking to this assistant? Whatever. So, it's kind of funny.
That's the best, though. Those are the cool. That's even deeper than I thought you would go. A personal family connection. That's beyond work. All right, so this game tomorrow, ramping up. Now, it's funny because as you collect these experiences throughout your career, you've now covered a lot of huge events. I mean, you were at that you were at the Final Four by yourself in Indianapolis, which was just like the all-time probably weirdest event you've ever covered. You've done Sugar Bowls, national championships, and now you're back out here for a college football playoff. Where does this rank on just the intensity and because the playoff, you can say whatever you want about it. It's awesome. Like it's win or go home tomorrow.
Yeah, it is win or go home. I don't know where it ranks as far as like stuff I've covered, but I will say the difference in when we were here for the SEC championship versus this trip, it is so different. And I expect to feel that in the stadium. Like, I don't know what it was about that Georgia-Texas game, but they both knew they were going to live to see another day. Yeah. Obviously, they wanted to win a championship, but it was like, okay, but then what? I don't know. It's just different. And so now I do think there's more energy and there's more at stake. And it is cool. It's cool to witness a playoff run, the first year that it's set up like this and witness the history. I actually didn't get to go to the game that they hosted because I was covering high school state championships, which I also love. Yeah. But that was such a unique, historic event that they had a game there and then for them to be able to win and move on. And so the path is different. It's causing coaches to kind of restructure like, okay, we're going to do that this week. And just how long they've been playing football at this point is going to be amazing. And if they get to come back to Atlanta for a third trip, it's going to be quite a long season. So I just think that the energy is probably going to feel very different, and it does feel it feels pretty cool as far as stuff that I've gotten to cover. It feels very historic, so which it is. So it's cool.
Does it feel stable? And the reason I say that because just last week Penn State and SMU, like there's transfer portal stuff around that game and what's going on. I'm not getting that feeling from this game at all. Like it feels like maybe the further we get down the road, there's going to be less of that. But it feels like everybody's there. Nobody's leaving right now. And it is pedal to the metal.
Yeah, nobody's opting out at halftime and stuff. Yeah, no, it definitely is. Well, this game matters 100%. And so there's no talk about, of course, people are asking, like they're asking Arch, what are your plans for next year? They're asking Quinn. There's all that, but no one's saying anything. It is 100%. We're trying to win this game and then see what happens from there. And on ASU side too, I mean, they're very locked in and this was what Kenny Dillingham sold them on. And so now they're here and they're ready to make it happen too. So yeah, it is interesting. Like, and we could talk about, that's a whole other thing as far as if the playoff setup is stable, like, I don't know, but at least these teams definitely, I think moving on, we're going to see a little less nonsense and a little bit more trying to win a championship.
All right, help me out here. Last one. So I'm in Tucson, first Big 12 game ever in the history of Arizona. They're 6-5 this year. I feel like this community though is like very much behind the Wildcats. Like I get a different vibe.
Pete. U of A basketball is elite, and it always has been. I went to a couple games when I was in high school because I was actually thinking of going to school there, and yeah, their basketball games are pretty fun, and people are. The community is locked in. It's very like it goes beyond just the students, and it is. People are really into it. So I think you'll have a great time. That's cool. Witness the transition.
I'm pumped. I feel like a sense of responsibility. I was honestly like thinking about it, when you start to get like almost a little nervous, I was like, okay, shut that off. Because I'm like, wow, it's kind of like a sense of responsibility. Like they're going to be seeing this Big 12 packaged item, like, hey, welcome to the Big 12. A lot of the Pac-12 stuff is on Fox, so it's different. Mm-hmm. So it's a cool opportunity for sure.
Yeah. Well, you're going to crush it. And you will enjoy it. And it is Arizona basketball is an elite. Like it is elite. So you'll see that.
All right. What's the rest of your day look like?
So I'm going to go downstairs and work on some stuff that we just filmed, kind of put together a story, kind of talking about the receivers, like kind of we're talking about Quinn and his receiver crew and kind of what they've been going through this year. And then we'll be live at 6 and 10 and then turning around a special for tomorrow. And so, yeah, the work is.
What are the call letters? I know you're the Fox affiliate. What's.
No, CBS. So CBS. So it's CBS Austin and it's KEYE.
All right. There she is. AI. Darby Brown. And no score prediction, which we love about Darby. No.
Yeah, no score prediction. I honestly, like, I'm with you. I hope it's a good game.
Me
It's
too.
a good game. I think that'd be fun. So yeah.
How does Mojo like Austin life? Like, he's been there for a while, but is he chilling?
He's doing great. You know, he gets a little bit extra attention with my boyfriend around more, so he's happy there, and he's doing great. So it's been good.
All right, Darby, thank you so much for taking the time. This is a great opportunity for me to reconnect with you around something that is like happening right now, and a lot of people are going to be paying attention to. So thank you very much for taking time.
Thanks for having me.
Farmhounds offers natural treats and chews made with quality products that support family farms, regenerative agriculture, and humane farming practices. Give your dog the best with wholesome, organic ingredients that promote health and happiness. Shop now at farmhounds.com.
Overwhelmed by your inbox? Clean Email is here to help. Organize, clean, and manage your emails with powerful automation tools. Say goodbye to spam and clutter and enjoy a stress-free inbox. Try Clean Email today at cleanemail.com. That's CLEAN email.com. Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. Whether at home or on the go, NordVPN ensures your digital freedom. Stay secure. Download NordVPN today at nordvpn.com. That's NORDVPN.com. Want to turn your passion into profit? With Blogify, creating a blog has never been easier. Build, customize, and grow your site with powerful tools designed for beginners and pros alike. Start sharing your story today and watch your audience grow with Blogify. Download Blogify now in the App Store. Easy Sun has been living fearlessly under the sun since 2016. Born from sailors' need for convenient sun protection, our mineral sunscreen is crafted with natural ingredients offering broad spectrum protection against UVA and UVB rays. Safe for your skin and the environment, stay protected on the go with Easy Sun, your ultimate sun care solution. Visit EasySun.com today. That's EEZYSUN.com. Stay connected no matter where you are with eSIMX. Say goodbye to expensive roaming charges and physical SIM cards. With access to over 200 global carriers, we make mobile connectivity seamless and affordable for travelers worldwide. Join the future of communication today at eSIMX.com. That's ESIMX.com. At Tusain's, we understand that maintaining a healthy lifestyle can be challenging, especially in today's fast-paced world. That's why our mission is to make fitness accessible to everyone, anywhere. Committed to excellence, we adopt a user-centric approach guided by ergonomics and medical science. With a team of seasoned professionals in R&D, design, and manufacturing, we prioritize quality across our entire product line. Visit Tusains.com today and start your journey to better health. That's TOUSAINS.com. Protect your car with 3W Liners all-weather floor mats. Made from durable materials like TPE and rubber, our mats are designed to withstand rain, snow, and mud with deep grooves to trap dirt and liquids. For a custom fit and advanced protection, visit 3W Liners. That's the number 3, WLINERS.com today.
Sports.
So the first thing, I'm from the Northeast, and we had a conversation. I host this show called Inside the 12, right? It's about the Big 12, and the Big 12 network, or the Big 12 puts it on. We were talking about how to say your name. Do you notice that that people say Sawyer and then some say Sawyer.
Mm-hmm.
So what is the correct pronunciation?
It's Sawyer.
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 How
But
about-
a lot of people, especially from the Northeast, will say Sawyer.
And
I don't correct it just because like I've been so like used to it growing up.
Yeah. Because you're high profile, and really, when people, the guys who call your games, like some of them from ESPN, from California, from the Northeast, and so they say Sawyer.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, it is Sawyer though. The only like my parents will make comments about it. I think it's pretty funny, but yeah, no, I don't really care.
Yeah, I've never called games that never got back up the food chain to me that I was saying it wrong. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, of
Thanks for
course.
saving me. Your parents are the last people you want. You never want to hear from somebody's parents when you're calling a game. Your games recently have gone very well, and you have been not only a bright spot for this team, but for this school. And as you guys head into this game against TCU, what has been memorable about you for this year? Your ability to turn the corner.
I think that just like kind of turning the corner, especially when you take in last year into account. That was just it was such a hard year as far as just everything goes. Like, you're not winning games. You feel like you're letting people down, letting the students down, letting the fans down, the alumni, just everybody. And then you're not playing well on top of that. It just wasn't a very good feeling. And so this year to just kind of have the success that we've had, and there have been like some lows this year too, but we've gotten over it. We've grown as a team. And so that's been the most encouraging thing, is just like getting over that kind of that hump of just like starting to win games. And so it's been really fun. And we're just looking to kind of build on that.
Yeah, I'll talk to you some about football, but I really want to learn about you as a person. And you talk about your fight, right? Like fighting for the starting job in camp. DeQuan Finn gets named starter.
Mm-hmm.
And this is after last year where you saw a bunch of work. You're a 4-star recruit from Lubbock. I mean, those guys can throw the ball, right? I mean, like a 4-star quarterback from Lubbock, Texas is a starter in college football. Took you a moment. Now you're here. You're seizing the moment. What about you? Where have you found that gear inside you to persevere and stay the course?
I feel like I'm very outspoken about my faith, and I consider that like the foundation of my life. It's like my identity is wrapped up in that, and I feel like that's the reason why I'm seeing what I'm seeing now, is because, a lot of people, especially at this age, everything they know, everything they are is wrapped up in football. And if that was the case for me, like, I wouldn't be here right now, because I've experienced so much failure, so much adversity in my career up to this point. And through it all, like, it just didn't change who I was. Now, it was hard, especially like, because you don't really learn it until you're put in the fire. And so it was kind of that thing, just getting over that hump. But yeah, no, my faith is what got me through that. I know, like, no matter what happens on Saturday against TCU this week, it's not going to change who I am as a person. It's not going to change anything. I got interviewed the other day, and I talked about it, like, my identity comes through what Jesus Christ did on the cross, and, like, that happened a long time ago, and, like, that's not changing anytime soon, no matter how I perform on Saturdays. So
It reminds me recently, Tom Landry, the legendary Cowboys coach, he had this successful career winning Super Bowls as a player, and he found God later in life because he was unfulfilled after all the success on the field, and so it's nice that you're able to tap into that now early in your life, because it's one of those things where to be fulfilled, you're always going to need that, right? That nourishment that comes from a higher power.
Absolutely. And I feel like, I thought a cool interview that I watched was Tom Brady talked. It was after like his 4th or 5th Super Bowl, and he was just like, I just want more. I just want more. And I'm sitting there like, man, if I was a starting NFL quarterback, if I won one Super Bowl, I'd be like, my life is complete. Like, I've achieved it all. And I can kind of compare that to where I'm at now as a college. Like, I remember being in high school, just being like, man, like, once I become a college quarterback, like, that's going to be like, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be all I ever wanted. And now I'm kind of in that position, having some success, and it's like, no, like it's empty. Like, it's all empty. And so, because you just want more and more and more of it. And so, like, I'm starting to realize that too. And I'm thankful for people like that who are outspoken about it, and like what they've been through, because it helps people like me realize that, like, football is going to end one day for me. And so, like I said earlier, I can't wrap my identity in football, because I'm already starting to experience those feelings of like, man, like it's an empty feeling, no matter how much you win, no matter how much success you have either.
How do you, like, take me through a day of how you stay out of yourself, right? Because there's so much focus on the quarterback. There's so much focus on the football program. and you seem to still be kind of wearing life like a loose shirt. How do you stay out of yourself and out of your head?
A lot, like, if you knew me outside of football, like a lot, I feel like I'm a little kid, honestly. Like I love just like messing around, goofing around. When I'm not like playing football or in season, like I love to just hang out with my friends, go fishing. Like I love fishing, that because you kind of spend time in nature. You get your mind off everything. And so like that's always been like a personal like hobby of mine that like I just can do to get my mind off everything. But then on top of that, it's just kind of remaining like I feel like I'm the same person I was 3 years ago, 5 years ago, like all that's like that doesn't change just because of like the circumstances or situations you find yourself in. Now it's like the Baylor quarterback versus when I was the Lubbock Coronado quarterback versus when I was the Patriots quarterback for my little league football team. You know, like I'm the same person throughout all that, and so that's kind of how you don't get like wrapped in, you know, the whatever it is of being the quarterback, and just like staying true to who you are as a person, and how you treat people is also important. I don't want like when people like talk about me, I don't want anybody to. I mean, I would like people to talk about like the quarterback. Like I want to have success doing that, obviously, but I want to make an impact. Like I want them to talk about the person I was. You know?
You can only control your interactions with people. You know what I mean? Like you can control all the noise out there. People are going to say what they're going to say.
Exactly.
Right.
And so there are going to be people that like you. There are going to be people that don't like you. But the people that you interact with, they have more of a say than the people on like Twitter or social media. And so like those are the people that you want to like have an impact on. You want to like pour into. You want them to pour into you as well.
How do you handle that? I'm like a mid-level announcer, and I'll look at Twitter after a game, and people will be like bash me. I'm like, ugh. And I'm like, don't look, dude, don't look. You know, it's almost worse for announcers because there's not even near the traffic for us that there is for you. But we can look at timeouts at least.
Yeah.
At least you can't get to your phone on the sideline. Yeah. What's that
That's
like
funny.
after a game? Where I'd like, how do you stay away from all that nonsense? Because that's what it is.
Yeah. I mean, it was a struggle, especially at the beginning. Last year, you win 3 games. You're the quarterback at a school who, has had a lot of success in the past. There was a lot of talk, a lot of hate, and then even like the direct message. Like it's not just like going on Twitter and seeing it. Like people are like messaging you stuff, and so like you just click on it, you see it.
I laugh because it's crazy.
Yeah,
you know?
no,
it's really an insane deal.
Yeah, no, it's wild. And for me, like that's kind of where I saw my faith grow. Is like, holy cow, like there really should just be one opinion of me that matters. And like that's kind of what I grew into. And then I kind of realized, like there are some people, instead of proving people wrong, I wanted to prove the people that did believe in me right. Like my parents, my brother, my entire family, really, my high school coach, like those people who poured a lot of time and effort into me. Those are the people whose opinions of me matter when it comes to football. But yeah, no, I also am pretty good about staying off social media. Like I'll download Instagram if I want to repost or post something like a Bible verse or something like that. Twitter, I try to stay off of completely, just because that's where like you see all the crazy stuff. And then also something I learned too is like you have to like take into account who is saying what. Like I learned like there are a lot of like we would win a game and somebody would message me something and I'm like, what? Like what's this guy's problem? And I started to realize like a lot of it is just like bettors, and so like if they might have bet the under, I played really good and the over hit, and they're like, screw you, dude, like you lost me money.
Yeah.
And so like just understanding that too plays into it. But yeah, no, none of like I'm in the boat where like nobody else's opinion of me matters. Like I know who I am, and yeah, that's that.
What about something about you that people will be surprised to know?
Like when it comes to just life in general. I'm not a big reader, to be honest. I enjoy watching movies, just hanging out, kind of relaxing. I really like spending time with my family, playing board games. Some of my best memories growing up are just hanging out with my family, going on trips, playing any kind of board game, just compete with them. I have an older brother he's 18 months older than I am, and so we basically grew up like twins. So the competitive nature in me really came from him and just wanting to beat him in everything that we did, no matter what it was. And so he's a stud too. He's running track at Lubbock Christian University in Lubbock, and so I'm super thankful for him and just like my family in general. Really, really like homebody, family-oriented person. I would rather, I would hang out with them any day of the week over anybody else, to be honest.
Favorite board game?
We play a game. We call it aggravation. I think there's another name for. I think Yahoo. People call it Yahoo too.
Okay.
But it's just dice and marbles. Try to get around the board. You can knock people off. That's like our family like staple when we like Thanksgiving, Christmas, everything. It's really fun. But we also like all the like Clue, Yahtzee, like all Monopoly. Like grew up playing all those too. But aggravation was like
that's a lost art, dude.
Yeah.
Not many people are playing board games anymore, and I love them.
Yeah. No, they're super fun. It's a good way to get away from like technology too. And so we loved them. I loved them growing up.
How about yourself as an entrepreneur? And this is down the line, or maybe it's right now. You can tell me. But 15 years from now, maybe you're still in the NFL, right? But maybe you're finished playing and you're coaching. But if outside of football, what do you see yourself doing?
I could see. I'm in the business school right now, with S3. Which is basically like sports marketing.
S3, help me out.
Sports strategies and sales. It's basically like sports marketing.
Okay.
Really like it.
Communications major.
Yeah.
Sorry. I got to school as a football player. What's the easiest major? It's in communications.
That's funny.
Yeah. So S3, yeah.
But I really like the degree. I kind of want to go down like I would like to stay in like college athletics. Back and forth on being a coach or not, but I think like I could see myself being like assistant AD for a university one day. I think that would be really cool just because you're not only in football, but like you're with every sport. You kind of get to enjoy all that stuff. And so I think that would be really cool, and I would aspire to do that.
Have you talked to Mac Rhodes at all about this?
No, not really about that yet, just because I still have a year before I graduate.
Yeah.
I probably will have a conversation with him, just ask for advice, how he kind of like got into the role.
Yeah. He does an amazing job. We were talking about it earlier today, just talking sports. When he was at Houston, he hired Kelvin Sampson.
Really?
And that really took that program kind of out of the dark ages, like athletically. He really so he's a good guy to talk to.
Yeah,
and
awesome.
Look at all the hires he's done here at Baylor.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a conversation that I'm looking to have in the future.
When you look at yourself and your body of work, whether it's as a person or an athlete, is there something you can put your finger on, a moment where you say, that was tough, but it made me a better man, whether it brought you closer to your faith or your family? Is there an instance you could point out?
I think so. Out of high school, out of Lubbock, I went to Mississippi State. Went to Mississippi State because I wanted to play for Mike Leach. Grew up watching him, Graham Harrell, Sonny Cumbie, all those guys at Texas Tech. And so it was honestly a dream come true to be able to go and play for him. And
so Mike Leach recruited you?
Yes, yes. And so went there. It was awesome for a year and a half. And then, he's at practice one day calling plays, and then the next day he's not. And obviously it was a tragic accident. But it was really hard on me because I found myself 15 hours away from home. And really like the reason I was out there had gone away. And so I just kind of sat there and I was like, man, what do I do? And so that's really where I leaned into my faith, prayed really, really hard, asked God what he wanted me to do. And from then on out, just kind of like followed what I felt like I was being called to do. Ended up here, and it's been magnificent. But I would say that instance was, like you said, it was hard, not something that I envisioned happening, not something I wanted to happen. But I think I'm stronger now because of it.
I know Coach Aranda is not a man of too many words, but clearly communicates with you guys, and on the defensive side of the ball, maybe more so with them. But has he ever talked to you about, he used to, when Mike Leach and he were assistants together, like the two of them in the same car driving around? Can you imagine that?
No, I can't imagine the conversations they had. He told me when I was getting recruited to come play here, he told me about some of the Leach stories. The Leach stories are endless, by the way. Like, you can't ever hear, like, one person knows them, and there's 1,000 stories just from that one person. And so I always enjoy hearing them. I have some of my own, and so it's just really cool to see the two like connect like that. And it's a
That's team sports, though, and that's I want to ask you this too, like about how your team, and it seems like you guys continue to get closer and closer. Only in football could you have Dave Aranda and Mike Leach be coming together to share in the same car on ultimately the same mission.
Yes.
And then in football, you have it here too. How have the relationships with your teammates grown through everyone's bonding and everyone's faith?
Yeah, I think it's grown tremendous, and I think you can like tell on Saturdays too, like how that is. Teams that have like a disconnect, they're not able to overcome some adversity that other teams are. I think a good example of that was us last year. Like there was just some kind of disconnect, whether it was between two of the same position, offense, defense, whatever it was. And this year, like the leadership is just great, just from guys like older guys like Matt Jones, Garmin, Hal Presley. Like those guys are they're awesome. You can tell they want to win. When they talk, everybody listens. And so to kind of have that, everybody bought in, it means a lot. And I think that's where you're seeing like the growth and the success coming from is from the leadership and the bond. And like those are guys, like you don't follow somebody who you don't like, right? And so like those guys have a say because everybody wants to win with them, they want to win for them. And so having guys like that is really important to a successful team.
What guy is the most important outside of you on the offensive side of the ball? You mentioned Garmin, you mentioned Matt, but who else is someone who you follow even though you're the quarterback?
On offense?
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot. It's hard to just pinpoint one person. Hal definitely has a voice.
Hal Presley.
Hal Presley has a voice. Josh Cameron has a voice.
Yeah.
And then, the line.
Do they have a voice because they're telling you to throw them the ball?
No. It's like, hey, like pick it up,
Yeah.
and you're like, all right, we need to pick up. And then like all the linemen, like the linemen control the whole thing because if they don't play hard, you're not gonna have any success. And so anytime one of the linemen says something or there's some kind of like, you listen to those guys because you want them on your side. And so I think that's why we're having success on offense is there's not just one person who's like trying to pull the other 10 guys. It's like the majority of the guys are like, hey, this is how we do it. This is how we're going to get it done. And there might be one who's like having an off day and the 10 other guys pull him with us. And so like that's where you see a lot of the success coming from is it's not just one guy.
All right, a couple more questions for you. I'll let you go. I know you got to get to TCU. What have you learned as far as being a player this year? And you've experienced a lot of success. People are talking about you. I mean, and they're doing it because the numbers are indicating in the same breath as like Robert Griffin. How are you handling the success? How are you staying in the moment?
It kind of goes back to what you were saying about like how do you handle the people on social media when they talk bad about it. It's the same kind of thing. If you listen to them, you can't listen to them when they're talking good if you don't listen to them when you're talking bad. So it goes back to that circle that I was talking about. Those are the opinions of me that matter. But then
so even the good and the bad, like you kind of stay right here.
I mean, sometimes the good is worse than the bad because it fills your head up, and that's the last thing I want to is be like too over the top, arrogant, like that stuff. And so I have a standard for myself as far as just being a quarterback. I want to be, like I want to be. Everybody wants to be the best, and it's just staying hungry week in, week out to try to win. At the end of the day, wins and losses are what matters. Like that's what head coaches get measured by. That's what I feel like quarterbacks get measured by too. And so at the end of the day, that's what I'm striving to achieve as a quarterback. And hopefully, when it's all said and done, we've won a lot of games because that's what I want, and like that's the standard. And I'm going to try to lead everybody. And I'm going to try to be the guy that, gets the job done.
On the field, when the bullets started flying, early in the season, game one, since that point in the year, what about your play on the field has improved the most notably to you?
I would say, one, I think the game has slowed down a lot since the first game, even going back to last year. But then on top of that, like, there's a lot of, like, I rely on a lot of the other guys. I think the line is playing great right now. It's easy throwing to some of the guys that I throw to just because either they're so open or they're covered and they're still making catches. So I get a lot of the credit that I really don't deserve. but I'm just happy with how like we're scoring points, to be honest, because can't win games if you don't score points. And so I think everybody's starting to gel, everybody's starting to click, and that's probably what I'm most proud of. Is like I think people are having fun out there when they're playing, and I'm having fun with them, and that's what matters to me.
Yeah, well, matters that you came by, dude. I appreciate it. Sawyer. Thank you
so
very much.
Thank you.
It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at 70 miles an hour. I was injured, had a concussion. The insurance company, they delayed. They were playing games from the initial conversation. They weren't going to help me. The biggest thing I learned through this is that you can't go through this alone. I called Daniel Stark. They were going to help me and everything was going to be all right. Daniel Stark got me 10 times the insurance company offered.
The difference is stark.
Experience the future of secure private cloud storage with Internex. Protect your files with end-to-end encryption, ensuring your data stays private and accessible only to you. Enjoy seamless, fast storage without compromising security. Visit Internex.com today and take control of your digital life. That's INTERNXT.com today. Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. Whether at home or on the go, NordVPN ensures your digital freedom. Stay secure. Download NordVPN today at nordvpn.com. That's NORDVPN.com.
Farmhounds offers natural treats and chews made with quality products that support family farms, regenerative agriculture, and humane farming practices. Give your dog the best with wholesome, organic ingredients that promote health and happiness. Shop now at farmhounds.com.
Transform your workspace with Hanomi Ergonomics. From adjustable chairs to standing desks, we provide solutions for comfort and productivity, whether at home or in the office. Improve your posture, reduce strain, and work smarter. Visit us at hanomi.co today. That's HINOMI.co today. At Acasis, innovation drives us. Since 2008, we've been creating cutting-edge technology products that make your life easier. With a focus on performance, design, and customer service, we're here to help you work smarter, not harder. Join us on our journey to simplify your world. Visit acasis.com today. That's ACASIS.com today. We are Rogue Media Sports.